Now we're going to discuss a lab walkthrough that will lead you through a couple of examples of the independent and dependent samples methods. So what I want you to do is open up your Lab 8. You will need to print this off, complete it, fill it out, and upload it to the Lab 8 Dropbox. In doing so, you will need to, as part of it, go into StatCrunch. So click on StatCrunch, type or paste data, and when you paste it, just start with the numbers. So click kind of next to the numbers and then highlight, hit Control-C to copy, and then when you go back into here and you click in the first column, hit Control-V, it'll ask you how you want to do it, and with white spaces, okay. Click OK, and it'll put those in there. To do the statistical methods, we're going to go under T-Stats, and for one of them, you will use the paired version because it will be a paired example. You will select the columns where you want the two things to be related. So pick which one you want to be mu1 and which one you want to be mu2. And then pick which test you want to run and hit compute, and it will give you some results. In the other one, you will have to do a test where they are independent samples, so they're not paired together. You'll click on Stats, T-Stats, to sample with data. I will then pick the two columns, and they will be different columns. I'm going to have another set of data in here. And hit compute, and you will then see some results. The lab will lead you through each of those steps, but you will need to use StatCrunch. You will also do some hand calculations in here. For each of the two problems, I want you to figure out if it's a dependent or independent set of data. So are the two columns dependent or paired, or are they independent? And you'll do that for both of them. I'll want you to read through the problem and decide what's the null hypothesis and alternative. Remember, the null hypothesis is a statement of equality. The alternative will be a statement of non-equality. So either not equals, greater than, or less than. So look at the wording of the question and determine what each of those would be. I also want you to determine the number of degrees of freedom in the set, whether you have a one-sided test, be it right tail or left tail, or if you have a two-sided test or two-tailed test. I'm going to give you an alpha level of 0.05 on the first one and an alpha level of 0.01 on the second one, but I want you to find a critical value using your t-table. Remember that in the t-table, the thing that goes across the top is the alpha if it's a one-sided test, or it's alpha over 2 for a two-sided test. And then we'll look down the left-hand column for degrees of freedom. So let's say I had 14 degrees of freedom and I was looking at a one-sided test with alpha's 2.5% or 0.025. I would look in the 14 row and the 0.025 column. So you'll do that with your lab as well. I'll then have you calculate a test statistic. One of them will be using the dependent or paired aspect, and one will be using the independent aspect. So once you've done this, upload it to MyStatLab or upload it to Lab 8 Dropbox, and you will be finished.